Misfortune. I am afraid picking this champion this early. All right, we'll see. I always worry with Misfortune that there are a lot of denies that can come across to make the bullet time kind of an afterthought. So we'll see. We'll see.
Okay, so in terms of aggressive supports, I think that you can go for Rel. Into the Nautilus, you're perfectly fine with that. There is no Alistar, so you're not really afraid of that as Lilia potentially punting her away. The Misfortune plus Lilia combo is very dangerous, doesn't wake them up from the sleep, so they're going to be taking double damage during all of that, which is a very big damage buff coming on through. But it's all about that setup, which has been an issue for ThunderTalk in series past. And you look at what IG have, very preventative at trying to stop the enemies from walking forward. You have this Skarner, Jin Traps plus his Deadly Flourish make it very difficult for the enemies to walk up. We're in the back end of this ban phase now, and I think you're going to be a pretty big focus on mid laners here, especially for SeTab.
Yep, so the knockdown is Talia. I wonder if we try and take away, just other safer mid lane options that could come across. You mentioned the Victor from the last game. SeTab has tried to pick up the Victor in some of their earlier series. There was a big talking point when we were trying to diagnose where ThunderTalk are trying to find comfortable champions with a lot of new champ pools opening up. So TheShy draws an Italy top ban, as he will likely have himself red side counter coming across. Maybe we see that Victor ban come away now, or an Orianna ban, something towards SeTab.
I really like the Orianna ban in comparison to that one, so I think that's a sharp call out there, Slayer. Orianna makes a lot more sense. I'm just thinking about 80 mid laners, and if there's not an 80 mid laner, what are we bringing in top lane that's really going to be able to do enough here? It's going to be the Silas instead, so...
Please say
okay, we still have the Jace. We could do Yasuo. I don't think there's a ton of setup here.
There's not. I'm just hoping.
And it sounds really miserable to play Yasuo to both Azir and Skarner.
I'm coping.
But we have seen we have seen worse things, okay? So
yes,
I've watched all of our Yorick top lane players. I've even seen some Corki here in the LPL, which isn't doing too well just across the league. I think it's like a 35% win rate, 31%.
Not a good spot.
Yeah.
Yorick gonna draw another Shy ban, so he gets the Nilly and the Yorick out of the way. I feel like this is slam dunk for Meiko. Just take the Rel here now, and then give the Shy whatever twisted and unique counter R5 he wants.
I think maybe IG could have gone for Leona. Gives you the ability to stop the bullet time at any chance and forces maybe some flashes later on. But the Rel still gives you a lot of setup. And again, holding players in place, very good for something like a Jin and an Azir. Makes sense there. So ThunderTalk now, they're going to have to blind a top laner into TheShy, by the way. I like that they did prep this Scion by getting rid of the Nidalee and the Yorick early on. But I'm looking at TheShy's pool. I mean... this could just be a Cho'Gath game. Unironically, it is looking very Cho'Gathable right now from TheShy.
I wonder, I was curious if SeTab would be willing to commit like double marksman. Tristana is in kind of a good spot. I know people take a bottom lane much more. And you can put next to Lilia with the Scion Nautilus front line. No, they'll go for the Aurora, which I do think is a bit of a weird insert into this comp.
I think it's okay. Just it creates a zone where it's very difficult for IG to move in and out of. I think also just giving SeTab a laner that's going to be very strong in the first few levels against Azir hopefully opens up some more plays. We're getting the last second hover here. We're going to be seeing TheShy play Shen.
Buffed up, very buffed up Shen right now.
That's tough. Yeah. I mean, not only is the champion a lot stronger with those Q buffs, but also into the Scion is going to be a very, very potent matchup. Can match him in side lanes, can eventually even show up to team fights and be a very big menace. Who is he ulting on? He's going to ult on to Skarner and suddenly show up? He's like, okay, look, Rookie, you gave me all your Galio ults last game. I'm coming on through to save you.
It's TheShy. If you think he's going to pick save Rookie or ult onto the guy where you can land a triple taunt, like, do I need to answer this question? Come on, it's TheShy. And he's playing with some confidence off of his first ever pentakill, which was awesome to see from last game.
You know, you want it to be the most, logical decision. But when I see TheShy, One of his most famous quotes is, "I will not go back to competitive to play unless I'm playing with Rookie." I'm just saying, the possibility of him helping out his work husband might be true.
Let's hope to see it. Let's hope to just see some impactful Stand United ultimates as TheShy tries to show off what could be another wrinkle in the top lane pool for the LPL going forward on the new Rift on the current patch 15.9. Definitely feels like he's going to have everything to play with. He likes to in the top side with this pick into Hoya's Scion. But I really like to see where Xiaohong Ren is at on this Lilia pick, which I think is also pretty potent and needs to be such a big deciding factor if they want to get this huge damage amplified combo ultimate across, as ThunderTalk need to win this game to stave off being the first team to double-digit losses in the 18 best-of-3s that the Rumble stage has brought to all of our teams.
And for TheShy, we talked about it. It is his second ever Shen that he has played in his career. So
Yep.
Let's try to bring the wins. We have those Jiejie coming on through.
IG are a popular team in the LPL? No way.
Wow.
Loudest they've been all day.
Okay. We look at this IG team. They're going to be a little bit slower to start. You look at ThunderTalk. They yet again have given themselves a draft where you have a strong mid lane presence. You have a strong 2v2 in bottom lane to be able to play through early. We need to see ThunderTalk actually turn this into wins, turn this into objective fights, and even just winning team fights straight up against IG needs to be a priority.
It's a great game state early on for Xiaohong Ren to kind of just farm up as he wants to, try to get to that level 6 as quickly as he can, and then play for some of those objectives through those potent lanes like you're talking about in the spot side, playing around this Aurora. We just want to see consistent, good competitive plays made from ThunderTalk, because they've shown flashes even in the start of game 1. They were in a nice spot. But when it comes to fights up against IG, they've just looked completely outclassed.
All right, junglers are both pathing up towards the top side. Again, we're looking at these two junglers. They're probably just going to be looking for full clears. Jiejie has not been the most creative. Oh, we're just doing this?
Oh, we're jumping in. 4-shot lined up. 1xN's going to cleanse the Ignite. Meiko getting the autos down. Gala in flash range. If he wants to off this 4-shot, get the Q and the first blood, and he will. The root onto Feather under the turret. Meiko's health bar is too dandy. Just like that, one of those big lanes for ThunderTalk's early game collapses.
That was incredibly dry, by the way. Meiko uses both of his summoner spells, and they end up grabbing that. That's a huge win for Invictus. And they'll be able to crash this wave, get their recall in. I don't imagine that 1xN is going to be missing out on too much of this wave. It seems like about 3 to 4 minions. But very, very good job from the 2v2 that, honestly, Gala and Meiko, we came into the pre-show talking about how they have been kind of quiet in their performance so far in 2025. That's a resounding result already.
And playing with confidence. We like to see knowing what the skill ceiling is for that duo. Now the question becomes, how much space can Jiejie get to operate with this Skarner that in this window has so much ability to be a lot more threatening in lanes, knowing, as we've talked about all day long, that with Grubs coming at 8 minutes, there is some creative expression available for junglers. They're not just power clearing Andys.
Unfortunately, it's not this game. I really, maybe there's a chance, right? Like you're just saying, the fact that they push them back is opening up for a few more plays, but it also does, I think, incentivize for junglers. I know they're also trying to get rid of that so that everybody isn't just doing all of your camps on repeat. But you can kind of see here, both of our mid laners just took their recalls, they teleported back. You see that SeTab is trying to move in with his jungle into the bottom side of the map, but Xiaohong Ren will be able to have access to these respawn raptors. And as long as Lilia is farming up, I think we're not too mad about what's happening here for ThunderTalk, despite some early game whoopsies.
Doesn't end up netting them too bad of a spot either for their bottom lane. Right now it's just a longsword advantage for Gala at this point, so I still feel pretty confident 1xN and Feather playing somewhat up. It definitely helps that Flash was never really burned for 1xN after dying for first blood. So they're going to try and keep this lane pressed up to allow for Xiao Hongren to try and step through. We do have Jiejie nearby. The bowling ball down. The Swirl Seek going to symbolize their presence here as the dredge line lands. Meiko, though, crashes down away into safety. Jiejie flies in with the Ixtal's impact. Not going to find anyone to slam into a wall. Just going to make sure this bot lane is safe and able to catch this next wave.
Getting some chip damage in and will mean that for ThunderTalk, just getting that recall is way more important for them. I like this from ThunderTalk, just making sure that you're buying time for your bottom lane. Xiao Hongren will go up towards the top side to pick up on some of those camps while he is waiting. And we're seeing some skirmishing between our two solo laners. I am liking what SeTab has been kind of making out of Rookie so far. Got an early trade that forced Rookie to recall and has done it again with this electrocute. This was going to be one of the more important matchups coming into this series, and especially here in this game number 2. I need to see SeTab actually step up and prove to be that more exciting mid prospect coming in from the LCK, because it's kind of him and Karis fighting as the two new imports to the league.
I liked how you described it for ThunderTalk of recent. They look most potent and fierce when SeTab is playing with the lead, playing with confidence. So we'll look to see how much he can translate this Aurora, especially once you can start roaming around the map with this ultimate and trying to see what you can get done with Xiao Hongren. The Dragon, another Hextech Drake in the first one, is going to spawn on that bot side. We're getting close to the point where maybe start seeing some lane swaps come across here. A little bit early now, but with Grubs at 8 minutes, wonder how aggressive these bottom lanes may get trying to find an angle to take that first lane swap window with both return to bottom lane at the same time for now.
Right now, I think both junglers need to be focused on this scuttle. It'll give them level 6 or put them very close to it if they're also able to grab that. You can see that Lilia right now is pinging. I want my Raptors, guys. This Raptors gives me my ultimate, and you see that Jiejie, same thing, making sure that they have these big abilities up and available before this fight. Jiejie actually uses his smite here, so as long as the dragon isn't started, IG are going to be feeling okay, but that is the full cooldown. It's not the shortened one. He has a full minute here before that is up and available. And I think you can see that right now IG trying to figure out in real time where are they allowed to step, where can they find purchase. And that right now is them in the river first, and I think having to bail out Rookie from what right now is a pretty difficult lane versus this Aurora.
What does slow down ThunderTalk a bit about trying to punish that timer is that with teleports down for both top laners, even with Unstoppable Onslaught, Hoya will be kind of late to join a fight. Stand United just posing such a pretty big threat, and it's got to be in the back of ThunderTalk's mind going forward every time if they try and open up for a fight around that dragon.
You just know, like, oh, he's about to have like a 600 HP shield and a person that just jumps on top of him and suddenly has a taunt. Yeah. That's going to be very disgusting to deal with. So good call out for the rest of this game. We're 7.5 minutes, almost 8 now, and I mean, we're just seeing, again, more full clears. We said, okay, we can't play for this bottom side. Let's go ahead and take the resets. Let's make sure that we're moving on forward. 1xN yet again opts for the call. I don't know how good this is going to be this game, honestly. I feel like in a game that is so heavily revolving around trying to find your teamfight windows, and for ThunderTalk, a team that are much more willing to give up waves just to be there at an objective a little bit earlier, kind of feels like this might end up being a bit of a speed bump for ThunderTalk here. So they're here first on this top side, but I'm kind of looking at this right now, and I think you could see that Hoya already dropping this bottom lane wave, and he's just moving mid.
And it's just free gold to collect for TheShy because he doesn't have to worry. He can just jump in with that Stand United. Nonetheless, with Hoya's presence being shown mid lane, Xiao Hongren and the 1xN company feel comfortable going for these grubs. Jiejie is going to fly in, though, with that Impale. Dredgeline going to land from Feather. As the fight starts to open up, here's the Unstoppable Onslaught. Does hit onto Meiko. Lilting Lullaby only going to sleep Jiejie, who immediately gets woken up. The bullet time. Meiko flashes away from it. 1xN gets zero value out of it, but Between Worlds from SeTab finds the opening kill. TheShy and Rookie on the back end of this fight are very sectioned off and in danger. Feather's Dredgeline forces them to flash over as we go back towards the top side of this fight. Jiejie gets knocked out of his Ixtal impact by the slam down from Hoya. He gets one grub. TheShy's flying in 1 versus 3 in classic TheShy fashion. Finds the kill into Xiao Hongren, but him and Jiejie both fall. Feat of Warfare secured for TT to the price of 2-1 grubs.
Slayer, I I don't know if I want to see a replay of that.
I don't. I really don't.
That was tough to watch. There was a lot of things going on, but not a lot of things going on, if you catch my drift. That was very strange. It's 2 grubs over to IG, so I think you're not super bad. Thank you. But like we're watching this fight, I'm looking at just all the magical wonderings that I had to watch during this. Like, so Feather, I think this is fine. Gala's over here, like, trying to fight off, so there's 2 people slept. We see that TheShy does use his ultimate. Meiko escapes. A bullet time that forces the summoner spell, which is fine. I saw Jiejie miss out on his ultimate there. Xiaohuanren actually getting his flash to try to get away from Rookie. Rookie uses his flash to get out. So there was so much going on both ends of these fights. And part of that, I will say, is a little bit of that ThunderTalk magic where they are a bit split on some of their calls. But this is part of the ugly side of IG. Sometimes they just kind of throw themselves into an area, and it doesn't always work out.
It's just part of the magic too is, if I'm not mistaken, Jiejie gets waken up by the Lilting Lullaby by the grubs. I don't think anybody hit him, and then the bullet time came through. And
yeah.
And then it was like, oh, we're only.
Well, he was nowhere near the bullet time, so I think that was fine.
Okay.
That one's at least a little. That one's more acceptable.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe we just. Let's do the pace thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And
the
scrub that
pace
from our
thing was
memory.
right.
Let's not do that. Don't do that. Don't do what you're seeing at the bottom of your screen, or this game may just make you even more angry.
I don't feel anger anymore for ThunderTalk. I feel really sad all the time because they just keep losing. All right, well, SeTab's dead.
There we go. Nice flash taunt between worlds. Gonna create some space. Perfectly thrown rock though from Jiejie. Breaks the back of SeTab. Red buff gets it done.
All right, Rookie doesn't have flash anymore, but should be able to just shift on over. There is no one on this side of the map, so Rookie does have to play a little bit careful. Does still have his ultimate, but this is Dragon. First Dragon of the game actually going down at about 12 minutes here for IG. And see if they make this dive happen, though. Show what? Okay, actually, that was fine. That was actually fine. I'm okay with that.
Dancing shoes on. See ya. Dredge line. Nighty night, Rookie. Bop.
All right, Shen's going to be here to still catch the wave. All right, I was very quick to anger there, but the wall was just to prevent Lilia from walking in. Unfortunately for Rookie, Feather was still in the area, so it'll be a late response here from IG. It'll be a wave crash, but not all that much actually gained for it, right? It was the Ignite, it's the kill onto Rookie, but SeTab really going down. This is going to hurt a lot more, though.
Gala. Oh.
You know what's funny in Slayer? You actually went for like the inverse of the Oshin call, where it was like the getting really excited for Gala Kaisa, but it was just now it's like the disappointed like cousin.
Disappointed dad.
Gala.
Yeah, dude.
Gala. It's okay. It's okay. We got a lot more gameplay here. We got another 12 and a half. We're at 12:45. We got some League of Legends still.
Fun fact, between games 1 and 2 though, that's fun because we need to ignore what just happened. Jiejie took the first dragon of this game at double the time it took him to take game 1 dragon. I'm trying to distract you from the fact that SeTab's going to die to the same exact gank he died 2 minutes ago from.
This time, not in mid lane. This time, not in the river. It was on the bottom side. It's near to the alcove. So, let's take stock of this game. I know we've been taking a lot of pot shots over at both of our teams here, but we're looking now. I think that you're not super unhappy with where this game is from the side of ThunderTalk. Yes, SeTab keeps dying on side lane, but you've now forced out the flash from Gala. You've continued to get farm onto Xiaohuanren as this Lilia, so he is starting to get to that point. And as much as I was kind of questioning the coal purchase coming in from 1xN, he's close to finishing this and already has the Bloodthirster. So I think that ThunderTalk are okay with the spot that they're in. The problem that I am now looking at is when does Rookie come online? Because he's starting to get gold. He is continuing to finish these items, and on 2-3 items is where I see IG really becoming very problematic.
And I also think IG are going to continue to be problematic if they can constantly punish the side lane deaths from SeTab, because it slows down TT being able to play around that ultimate and just team fight the way they want to, right? The way that they drafted. So I think it's really hard to kind of force IG to play into those choke points where you want the big sleeps to come down, the big bolt time to come across, because with Flash available on the Azir and the TheShy on this Shen being kind of hard to punish, side lanes are a big hole for TT, and it doesn't really let up anytime soon.
I think ThunderTalk already recognized that that was going to be a problem. That has just been their bread. That has not, unfortunately, been the bread with which they butter, right?
Nope.
They are historically known so far in 2025, especially Hoya, to just give up waves so that he can be at an objective. And that's why I think Sion does such a great job of being able to play towards that strength a little bit better. He can just use his unstoppable onslaught. So to be ThunderTalk, starting up this Rift Herald, level 11 reached for both of the soul laners of IG, so getting rank 2 in those ultimates is a very big change. We're seeing they're probably going to be starting up late here. Gala does not want to walk into this choke until he gets an escort.
We're going to TP over Hoya. Meiko and Rookie on the bot side, but Herald's already done. It's just a matter of grabbing the eye. Xiaohong will get that one and walk his way right out. All it really costed was a Hoya teleport to intimidate IG from contesting.
But is this just the turret here? I hope our observers go towards the bottom lane wave, because I want to see how much damage the TheShy can get. He hears a Sion ultimate, and he's nowhere near taking it, even with 2 grubs. So, not all that bad, I'll be honest. If maybe IG can find a play within the next few moments while the ultimate and teleport from Hoya are down, that'll be great. But this game has been relatively slow. So, all things considered, ThunderTalk come out pretty okay for that. So we'll see how they use this Rift Herald going forward. Probably going to be using it in mid. They do have a dragon spawning in 30 seconds.
Has 15.9 done the unthinkable and slowed down LPL early games?
I mean, what did you expect? There's
It's
less
IG.
objectives in the game. Yes, but there's less objectives in the game. That's the whole reason why IG were fun, is because they would fight you on every objective. Same thing with like a TES or even like you know, like a TT. They'll just fight you. So we're getting that Rift Herald summoned in mid. We're seeing that Xiaohong Ren has hit level 11 on this Lilia. Doesn't have quite a second item yet, but still Leandries and trying to get some damage down into mid. We're also seeing that ThunderTalk playing a little far up and trying to take control of the river choke as well into blue side entrance. So good posturing from ThunderTalk so far.
Yeah, one of the checkpoints you were talking about for the ThunderTalk back stocks, one of the many, is getting those setups on neutrals that they want and then capitalizing on them. And now we'll see if they can try and punish any fight that breaks out. But once again, IG are a little bit late, and Feather flashing after Rookie finds such a great avenue to force the flash on Rookie himself. Don't think the curtain call is going to have enough bullets to punish Feather any further, so that's a support flash trade that you love to see for ThunderTalk.
Yeah. This is just good play. We are seeing ThunderTalk play the map really well, I think. And so, despite the gold not being too far in any one way, I think the biggest advantage right now is 1xN having almost 1,000 gold up on his counterpart here. Great job from the AD carry of ThunderTalk, who has been, I think, the best and brightest spot for this team when we talk about all year long. We've had individual moments from players like Hoya and SeTab, but it really has been 1xN and Feather that have been able to bring home victories and been the most exciting part of a ThunderTalk roster.
Oh, Rookie. There's a Scion in your brush. Ooh, flashes to cancel the dash.
Oh, no!
Divide does not push away the Scion. The knockup lands, and the gold's going right where you want it. Xiaohong Ren grabs his second, and a Rookie falls on a side lane just like his mid lane counterpart.
Cheeky overstay there from Hoya, just sitting in the brush, catches Rookie out. I mean, that's great. That opens up a numbers advantage more for you to be able to take.
Meiko, depth charge, bullet time lined up. But that Jin trap slows things down. Jiejie's here to cover. So they won't lose another member, but it kind of alleviates a lot of pressure on the map right now for ThunderTalk, and that's a big thing, knowing their side lane woes.
That's also global gold, because assumably Hoya should be able to grab this bottom lane tier 1. No one's heading over. See that IG right now, they're trying to contest in this bottom side ramp, but just not really making any work or any headway here. And despite all of this, even with TheShy pushing in topside, SeTab has done a really fantastic job so far of catching the wave, using his mobility to move into a back into mid lane to make sure that he's there with his team. So ThunderTalk are starting to piece it back together. We had a lot of questions and some disappointments coming out of Game 1 and with how their season has gone here in Split 2. But they're finally and hopefully going to be able to be on the pathway to winning a game. It's been a while since we've been able to see ThunderTalk actually pick up a game in a series, much less a entire series win.
And it's nice to see that the new guy stepping in and with huge shoes to fill, Xiao Hongren, as we talked about at the top of the show, a staple of the TT pipeline, right? This guy, for 5 years, has been playing in some level of TT's organization, and this Lilia is going to be the pivotal part of this comp working when fights kick off.
Do you want the most insane thread between these two teams? Is at the same time that Xiao Hongren actually started his career, so on Dominus Y, their LDL team, Gala just left the team. He had just left Dominus when he was playing. So very, very small thread there between the two. And we've got the Otacon already half HP, and IG are nowhere in the area.
They're trying to like make a play onto Hoya in the mid lane. That's the Scion. He's just going to laugh you off. TheShy. Okay, not going to get too big for our britches there. So big XP buff. You get those Blossom explosions on the kills now. And IG have zero answer. Oh my god, Xiao Hongren right there, flashing in, two-man lilting lullaby. Puts to sleep Jiejie and Meiko, who do get to safety. Dredgeline's going to land, though, onto the Skarner, who will look for an Impale to hold up the tanks. Shy flies in with a Stand United ultimate, and now Xiao Hongren very, very low. The kill should be picked up by TheShy, but SeTab able to trade away Gala on the back end. TheShy, though, getting a ton of value out of the Shen, gets a two-man taunt, and where the hell has Hoya ended up? Under the mid-tier 1 turret. Gives the kill back to Rookie. The zombified corpse of Hoya will not fight any of these low health bar kills. And somehow, some way, IG come away battered and bruised, but on top.
But maybe not, though. Even with all those kills, TheShy, I mean, you say even. ThunderTalk, they get the Otacon, they'll get shutdowns, and they also get the mid-tier 1. I think it's a huge win coming in from them. This all starts off with Xiao Hongren finding this flash engage to at least stall out these backline, and I'm just looking at the carries from Invictus. What are we doing in this fight? Good delay coming out and almost kills Rookie in this bullet time. Hoya is sectioning them off. SeTab on this Aurora, though, applies pressure onto Gala. Same thing, again, these solo laners of ThunderTalk, I think, providing so much value in this team fight.
Oh, sweet Hoya. I respect the play. You just needed an auto and a Q, and you find Rookie. But yeah, I see the light now, Alk. A lot of gold, objective gained. You get to see SeTab find a critical pick. That's probably the biggest win, I feel like, for me. That this Aurora and SeTab, who we talked about, has led the charge best for ThunderTalk in their wins. Is starting to really heat up on this Aurora as we're gauging up for a dragon fight with a curtain call coming down here from Gala. Hoya will happily gobble up all of these fourth shots like a hungry hippo. There's a little lullaby onto Gala as well. And he just wakes up from his slumber. Jiejie going in, grunted by Feather, gets the impale onto Xiao Hongren, but the bullet time really finds its mark from 1xN. Both tanks go down, TheShy flies in, but he's gapped away by Xiao Hongren and 1xN. The feathers flying high for ThunderTalk as Gala and Rookie try and back their way back towards their turret, the only ones to survive the onslaught.
Just look at how little damage IG, we thought that maybe with this rel, with having Skarner and Shen, that the backline carries of Invictus Gaming would have enough to be able to actually work with enough damage to get in between and really lay down the groundworks for an IG win here in game number 2. But ThunderTalk, SeTab is putting in work onto this backline. 1xN as well with this misfortune is doing a lot of work, and I think the front line of ThunderTalk is going with a lot of undue praise coming on through, or not necessarily recognized for their kind of ministrations in this one.
Oh, here we go.
What are we doing? This seems so overforced.
It's just work husband things. All right? That's TheShy repaying
told
Rookie.
you.
Right there. Yeah.
All right. I mean, also, I'm looking at Gala's build here. Yes, Hoya is not building very much armor, but we are never doing damage to this to the Scion. Just ever. Nor this Nautilus, to be fair. So
Nope.
it's all about that one shot. It's all about can IG actually find the pick onto one member, and we're seeing that ThunderTalk are just constantly outperforming them time and time again here in the second game. So being able to grab themselves the dragon, I think you're not too mad about that as IG or as ThunderTalk. Get themselves a turret as well. This game's going better and better for them.
Yeah, definitely make sure to watch Feather and how he marks Jiejie in these fights, because he's the one that's really making it impossible for any Impale to ever grab up 1xN and gets those bullet times off. And like we talked about, with the loss of Beichuan, you lose a big voice in these comms for ThunderTalk, but Feather also, and especially now, has been a huge proponent of any TT plays coming from the mind of that guy.
Yeah. He's also just been a very interesting and great support to watch despite some of the frustrations that we might have with ThunderTalk. So
Exactly.
we're here in this game kind of at a crossroads. We had said that for when they hit 2 and 3 items that this IG comp does feel a little bit strong. I am now noticing that TheShy ended up going for Heartsteel second on Shen, so he's going to be a little bit delayed in terms of being able to scale there. And while Rookie is particularly strong, he has been getting focused a lot and not really being able to stand his ground in some of these fights. So a bit of a worrisome trend for me as Gala getting closer and closer to what looks to be an Infinity Edge.
Yep, BF Sword. Does look like Rookie with the Bejeweled Gauntlet is going to try and get some Magic Pen as quickly as he can into Hoya, recognizing his build. The question now really becomes, can ThunderTalk continue to stay proactive on the map and most importantly mistake prone, because the game really just comes to them by this point, I feel like, with how much more strong they are at this point in the game, and hopefully they can play around this Baron well as Xiao Hung Red, don't know, does not actually start it, but boy was he thinking about it.
He's like, I'm playing Lilia. Hell, why not? I've got a 40 CS lead on my jungle opponent. Why shouldn't I be allowed to start this? My mid lane I always have mid push thanks to this AD carry. So 1xN doing a very good job, and you can see how hard it is for IG to actually step up on the mid wave with a lack of vision and particularly a lack of really fast wave clear without Rookie being here. Now, Rookie giving up some farm in the side lane right now as he is constantly grouping with his team. I think that a large portion of IG's damage is going to come from the fact that whether or not they can actually get gold into this Azir's back pockets, you kind of see them starting to shadow him, making sure that he gets level 16 rather soon so that he can get his third item.
ThunderTalk, though, also another good sign for them is that we haven't seen the Lilia ult and the Misfortune ult sync up, right?
True.
If that can happen in one of these final fights, it will win the game, and it's what they drafted for. So the fact, A, that they've got enough value out of this ultimate without having that sync up bodes well, and Baron is no place better than ever to try and get that combo down. Is we do see 3 items already out for 1xN, and 3 just such potent items into dealing with anybody, even those tanky frontliners.
Oh yeah, and he just has a hell of a lot of damage right now, so
much.
Also has upgraded boots if he does want it. It is very much buffed on this patch with 500 gold instead of 750. They're getting that start on the Baron. It is just now spotted by Invictus Gaming. They're going to make their way into the pit.
Okay, and they're really trying to force their way in. The Impale only lands on the Feather. There's the Lilting Lullaby. Down with the bullet time. Jiejie and Rookie are in a barn burner of hell. That SeTab flashes to secure the first kill with TheShy. Is all the way off in Narnia by himself, and the rest of TT. They go right through the motions of their comp. 5-3 more kills. Baron is their prize, and Game 2 really feels like the main get right now for ThunderTalk.
There we go, ThunderTalk. They are 6-20 so far. 6-21 following after last game. But finally having a series and maybe a game here where they feel in control. Game 1, some of their early game was very strong, unfortunately falling in the team fights. But here in game number 2, IG look lost, and ThunderTalk are pouncing on this opportunity right now, continuing to find wins. 1xN getting absolutely uninterrupted on this misfortune. And then Xiaohong Ren putting in that work on the Lilia. There was a lot of questions coming out as the first pick of the draft. Can he actually pull this team together around the jungle to bring themselves to a win? And it really has been very impressive to see him, not only this new jungler for ThunderTalk, but also the rest of the team, I think, really stepping up.
Now they get to reap all the rewards here. They're going to get to Ocean Soul Point with ease. But now we get another test for ThunderTalk on their execution. You mentioned their game score, 6-21. That means they haven't had a lot of practice, especially this roster, on running some of these, Baron pushes, trying to get as much value out of the purple banner. So, good test here as well with them in the lead. How do they look to push it further? What turrets can they grab? What gold can they get? How much value do these next 2 minutes grab for ThunderTalk?
Right. Well, 3 items completed here for Gala if he wants it, right? He already has the Infinity Edge. We said that 3 items. Rookie now level 16. If IG, despite everything, down 7,000 gold, if they cannot win with 3-4 item Azir, 3 item, Jhin, they were never meant to win this, unfortunately. They were always meant to kind of have to lose this one. And you look on the other side, it does not get easier for them. I know we've been talking a lot about 1xN, but SeTab as well, finishing his death cap. So he has a ton of damage, and so far has been very, very potent in this game number 2.
Xiaohong Ren has access to the Zhonya's as well. That's just going to make it so easy to get off these big lilting lullabies. I will say, to IG's credit, and with Rookie's wave clear, they've done a pretty good job not giving too much away on this Baron play. They've only ended up losing that bot tier 2 turret. Rotating pretty well, trying to answer some of these pushes from ThunderTalk.
They just need to be able to full send. Like, with the way that IG have been playing it, they've been playing with a lot of respect to how ThunderTalk want to position. You need someone like Meiko to have a crash down that finds 3 or 4 members. You need Azir to fly into the wings and catch up 1xN or get SeTab. But we're not seeing that from them, and so now they're just getting picked and pulled across the map. ThunderTalk put 4 on mid. They have someone sitting in the jungle. Hoya takes the mid-tier 1, and now they can bounce between these 2 waves if they really feel like it. Instead, they're going to take their recall. It's the final wave of their Baron, and now get set up 3 minutes ahead before a potential Ocean Soul from them. IG need to do something.
Where is the last stand? How much will you let TT push you around before you make that stand? That's a question for IG here. Not a lot to play on the map either. The Baron does come off the board here, so no more purple banner for TT. He's got a lot of waves to answer. The timer, the window is now for IG to make a play, because at the current state of the game, rocking up to either Baron or this Ocean Soul Drake is the death sentence.
All right. Well, we're going to be coming into, both of these actually, I think with Baron and the Ocean Soul coming up, maybe ThunderTalk, this might be a rare situation where we're willing to trade the soul for Baron.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it feels like it.
You have really you're under no menstruations that like this game's going to be very long, I think, and the Baron's just going to let you close out the game a little bit sooner. Ocean Soul obviously I think makes it pretty difficult for Invictus to actually find you fights, so depending on if you want to be able to win within the next 2.5 minutes, or if you feel confident that you can kind of pull off on both, that gold lead I think between the mid lane starting to shrink a little bit, but I'm just looking at our bottom lane and jungle.
Yeah, it's
3,000 gold for both of them for their counterparts. That is absolutely insane. That means that these shutdowns need to be worth it for IG if they want any chance of being able to be competitive here and close out this series. This is the problem with IG, is that they have games like these
against opponents that, if they actually want to compete for top 4, cannot happen. And the little slip-ups continue to roll through here as Xiaohong Ren's also going to hit the Swirl Seed into the Lilting Lullaby. Rookie does not have a Zhonya's, so he also burns his flash. When we want IG to be proactive, what do they show us? Jiejie and Rookie having to flash defensively.
Okay. We've got it. We've got the dragon now spawning in 50 seconds. No flash from Jiejie and Meiko, or Jiejie and Rookie, so this makes this fight incredibly difficult. This has to be the last stand for IG. ThunderTalk have done a lot of great work up until this point. They have to be able to close out this game now. I mean, you've had a lead for such a long time in this one. You have upgraded boots as well. It feels like everything is going their way, and the only reason I feel even slightly, like, worried about this is we've seen so many good game states for ThunderTalk, but they haven't been able to close out.
Okay, here we go. ThunderTalk looking to press the issue. Hoya TP's in. Had to have been spotted there as the Dredge Line's going to land on a Jiejie. Depth charge committed as well. No flash on this Skarner. And look at his health bar just disintegrate to the might of SeTab. Hoya throws himself into the wings. Rookie and Gala trying to kite back towards this river. But Jiejie is far too hurt for IG to try and press this issue. Try and get the most damage out of their scaling threats in this Azir and Jhin. So TT just going to walk him down, walk him out of this jungle, as Jiejie has to take a reset and desperately try and run back down towards the pit. Meiko gets hit with another dredge line. There is still no lilting lullaby. It comes up in 5 seconds for Xiao Hung Ren, and they're going to start on that soul secure Drake.
No Shen ultimate, and Jiejie is on his way. He is currently at the wolf pit through 2-man sleep.
Yep, Gala and TheShy get put 9-9. Meiko with a huge crash down. Magnet Storm comes with the back flip.
Aurora?
But it's not enough. Aurora eviscerates Gala. Rookie flies in, but it's just too late. Here's the fight ThunderTalk need. 21 losses. Be damned. They're going to clean Ace IG and send this series the distance.
Well, look, we're getting a repeat of what happened. Guess what? Week 2, ThunderTalk took IG to 3 games. Beichuan no longer part of the roster, but ThunderTalk looking to repeat history here. There we go. It is 12,000 gold, and Ocean Soul and ThunderTalk are able to finally pull the game over.
I can confidently say this was a crowd silencer with all the IG fans completely stunned. Maybe one of the most complete wins here for ThunderTalk all season long. Hopefully we'll lift up their moods just a bit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is kind of what you get with IG, I won't lie. So, you know, not too surprised to see it go down, but so many question marks. Again, even in that last game, we were a little bit worried for Gala and Meiko. This game, they just felt completely invisible. Gala is never finding multi-man crashdowns. He is not providing enough front line. And then we're also looking at Gala, who just had a complete, like, just snoozer of a game.
Yeah.
And this is really worrisome when this is supposed to be one of our super teams. When it's supposed to be, we have now combined Gala and Meiko to hopefully bring us championships and push us as a well-renowned AD carry and bot lane duo.
The expectations for this bottom lane are just so much higher than what they're currently producing with. And I do understand that I think Jhin, this game on Jhin is very weird to play out in a lot of spots. But again, the prevailing thought here is that if IG want to show that this skid is due to some tough competition, a rough patch, but they're here to break out in a schedule that feels a lot more favorable. So far, this series does not excite me, and as we've talked about so many times with Group Ascend, there are much hungrier teams looking to leap them in the standings.
And I think that's even more problematic, the fact that IG are not winning this in a 2-0 fashion. You are putting your record at jeopardy now, especially as right now, before coming in the series, they're 14-18, 5-7 in series score. You are now equal with Team WE. And if they don't end up winning this series, you're not going to even win, but your differential is going to continue to fall in the standings there. So if you're ever going to be a top 5 team, a top 6 team, like we expect for some of these players on this roster, they need to shape up. We're in week 6 right now. They only have 5 more series after this, and it doesn't, fine, maybe you get the NIP freebie win, but you're playing against WE, who's on the up and coming. You're on JDG as well next week. FPX and BLG are your last 2 series. That doesn't give me very much confidence. Even if you go 500 in the rest of them, you're going to look at probably just being a 7th place team, which means you're actually playing up against, you're probably playing against ThunderTalk for a place in play-ins.
Wow, what a world that would be. And for ThunderTalk, it's the analogy that we came away with after game 1. You put the shot up, you see it go through the hoop, you get a win. And for morale, that's what's most important here, because now you know you could beat IG. You know how how to go through the motions to find this win. And anything can happen in a single game of League of Legends. If any series has taught us that, it was the one prior to this one. So ThunderTalk, it's one game at a time, and luckily for once in a very long time, that one game could bring them up in the series score and help them maybe leapfrog an IP, which they've been dreaming about doing ever since they started losing series like East.
I think NIP might be leapfrogging themselves, no lie. That team is in the dumps. So, we'll see. MVP-wise, probably I would want to give it to SeTab. I know that 1xN and Feather did get some good work. Wouldn't be surprised to see it go over to them. But this is a very big step up for SeTab. And I think just proving the fact that we were talking about before, which is when this team has looked good, it is when their mid laner is actually functioning properly in a game. I mean, I think night and day difference between game 1 and game number 2 here.
I also want to make sure that we give some deserved praise over to Xiaohongren, who it felt like part of circumstance, like, was pretty invisible in some of the series that he came in for ThunderTalk. It was a tough spot to be in. What do? They B1 him to Lilia, and there were some intriguing sleeps that happened, but when it was time to put all the chips in the middle in these bigger fights later on this game, you're going to see hits the big swirl seeds he needs to, and gets the ult down to set up the bullet times just like this comp drafted. So this was by far what I would classify as the best game out of the new TT jungler.
It's the first one that they've been able to win with their new lineup, so hopefully this gives them some kind of confidence to go forward in the series. Last time we saw this team play up against, it was the very beginning of the season. They're obviously, ThunderTalk were still kind of riding that high of that best-of-5 win versus BLG.
Exactly.
And so now with a new jungler, and I think with Xiaohongren actually having, some decent games now strung together, maybe this is the comeback. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. We still have a whole other game that we still have to play here. And if they are able to find the series win, I think fans can maybe start to get excited in a similar way that we kind of got to see a team like WE actually start their run, which was with Monkey on the helm.
It's important to remember as we draw parallels to teams like WE and FPX, because those were the two that were clumped in with ThunderTalk, expected to be for the bottom of this group. WE was 0-6. 5-series win streak. That is just the definition of momentum. So ThunderTalk, they're going to be in a pivotal spot here. Will be important to mention before we get the player of the game and set up for the break here. All going to be the first blue side game here for IG.
Ooh, I mean, sure. We came into this series, we were like, okay, blue side's obviously going to be very important, but for IG, I'm thinking about all the champions that are now taken away thanks to Fearless. You still have Sejuani Yone potentially as an answer later on. I think that's going to be probably the most popular pair that these two teams are going to be looking towards.
Yeah.
And then kind of thinking bot lane-wise, we've gotten now the Kaisa, you now have the Misfortune gone, which opens up some of those strong laners. The Jhin as well with Varus. We might get a hyper carry game. And if I'm talking going band for band, while Gala has been okay on them in the past, I think that 1xN has been more impressive on things like Jinx.
Yes. Yeah. Even's got they both have the Zeri in the pocket. I wonder what the Ezreal priority is by this point in the draft as well. When you talk about AD carries, because 1xN definitely likes to play every AD carry in the LPL likes to play, and I do think it's a safe spot if you want to try and draft aggressive on other lanes. Wouldn't be surprised if we try and prioritize an Ezreal game here for Gala, knowing what they could possibly cook up in this top side for IG. It's a game 3 shy draft, so you always look out for that, guys.
Oh, yeah.
I hear the player of the game out here, and they do give it to Xiaohongren, so that's number 1 up there. Soak it in, my friend. Gotta feel good.
Yeah, especially with having wins be a premium right now for ThunderTalk. Every single MVP vote is going to have to matter, and especially for Xiaohongren, had a very good game on the Lilia. So proud to see him doing well, and hopefully ThunderTalk can continue to show this level of play going into game number 3.
Xiaohongren gets B1 Lilia and gets ThunderTalk a 1-1 scoreline here as we go to a break to figure out if IG can muster up another big-time game that's towards one of their highs when they were competing against the Titans of the LPL Group Ascend right now? Or do ThunderTalk have a bit of magic in them? It all comes down to Game 3 to round out our day, and we'll see you guys on the other side of an intermission to start off the draft.